Welcome everybody to the. Are we going straight into it?
Why not?
To the X, Y, and Z podcast. I'm here, Harry Fox, with my main man Christian Breaker.
Hello.
I got Dean Ira.
Hey.
And today we're joined by special guest Frank.
He doesn't even have a last name, but I'm very impressed by your podcast voice. It's nice. I like it.
What's his last name, Harry?
Richter.
Frank
Oh,
Richter.
you're lucky.
I know.
He saved you. He saved you.
Frank Richter.
Very
Frank
important
Richter,
around
a friend from comedy. We do comedy together sometimes. His career is like shooting.
What's the difference
off.
between a comedian and a friend from comedy?
In the English scene, Frank is like we're on a level. We're on a level on English, but Frank his career
I think
is
you're way
exploding.
better in English than I am. Also, I wouldn't say my career's exploding, but you said I should.
You got an hour.
No, actually, I got 3 because I have 2 solo shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I do a routine with a bamboo flute, so that shows you
Okay, all right.
how far I'm willing to go.
Well, I think it's just one step up from a ukulele. To be
I know,
perfectly
I
honest.
know. But somehow you have to entertain Central Switzerland, you know.
With a block float.
No, bamboo flute.
Bamboo flute.
Everyone can play a recorder, but not bamboo flute.
Well,
It's a bit of
no
an
one
exotic.
actually can.
So you
This
bring-
is why it sounds so shit. The recorder.
Oh, you think so?
It's the most horrible. It's like a whistle to make parents cringe.
Did you have to play one? When
Yeah,
you
of
were-
course.
Oh, okay. And what did you actually want to play?
Trumpet. Yeah.
And did you ever later?
No. No, of course not. I started hating music so much
Uh-huh.
when I had to play the recorder. I smashed the flute.
That sound drives young people so crazy that they stop
It's-
pursuing music.
Why the
All
fuck?
the Mozarts we could have had if they didn't give us
Every
a
single
recorder.
fucking teacher that I had this illusion, including my mother, that the recorder actually trains you for music.
No,
It fucking doesn't.
no.
But
But it's weird. I do respect that you develop the body for trumpet, even if you don't play trumpet.
I was
You
thinking
would-
the same thing, but
you
not an
would-
asshole enough to say it.
All right, so Frank.
No,
okay.
hold up. Are you just going to these podcasts fucking raw dogging, no lube, nothing, just straight in there every time?
I'm going straight in because my 2 podcasting buddies have like, well, we only have exactly 47 seconds to record a podcast.
That's not
and
true.
I'm here making sure it happens.
You
So-
wanted to watch one of the longest fucking movies on earth.
I didn't fucking check that. That
God.
was,
Didn't even
Was
finish
that your
it.
choice?
all right. So
Well, because I've seen the other one he proposed.
the concept for today, but we got to get a bit of background on Frank. But the concept today, we watched a movie, and we'll reveal the movie in a moment. And you know, and so we're going to have a little bit of a review of the movie. But first of all, Frank, tell us about yourself. For those people,
Wow.
for those people,
Wow.
The
Right.
faster you talk, Harry, this is not going to make the podcast
for
better.
those people that are not in Switzerland, because everyone knows you in Switzerland.
Because this is
But it goes. This goes worldwide
All right. Wow. Wow.
to 15 people.
Hello, world. Oh, hello, North Korea. So nice to finally speak to you guys.
That's where all our fans are from.
And China.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
being forced to work.
That would be fucking
It's part
great.
of the torture. Yeah, so I do comedy. I'm an author, and I host a TV show that no one watches. And
When-
no, it's not true. My mom watches it.
When did you
religiously.
begin with comedy, actually? When was
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Right,
Okay.
2016. And before that, I was writing jokes for Swiss comedians that present those on TV.
Wait, you started as a joke writer first.
I started as a writer first, yeah.
That's fascinating. How did you start writing jokes? Like not even trying them on stage or anything?
No, I had a satire website where I would put out fake news, and that worked pretty well. And then I thought, well, I know
yes.
how to write jokes.
So you are to be blamed for everything that happened in the
Right.
last 10 years.
No, it was always funny if people took them for serious.
That's so great.
You know, because it was so obvious that that they're fake. Like I remember, and also the best part was the outrage. Sometimes people would get so ugly. Like I would say, power outage in dark room, 120 gay guys in total panic. and then people were like, "This is so rude," and then like writing stuff like, "Oh, I was looking for my contact lenses and I couldn't find them," just silly stuff like that. And anyway, there was this one friend I studied with. He worked for SRF for Jacobo Müller. And I always
that was a late night show
on Swiss television, like the most famous one ever.
Actually, my daughter was on Jacobo Müller.
She was
Very briefly for about
What did she do?
half a second. She was in the audience.
Wow,
okay.
fuck me. All right. She was at the recording. She was not.
I know that far I got as well.
All right.
And then I always wanted to be a writer for them because that was like the only comedy show that needed writers. And they had a big pool, and he said, "No, there's no way I can get you in." And then that show, I don't know if it was canceled or if they stopped one of the two of them. And then they had 3 new shows on TV, and they desperately needed writers for the other 3. And then I started writing for 2 of them. First, where they pay you per joke they take. And I remember you got $70 for a joke. And the first show I wrote for, they took 3 or 4 jokes, but really shitty ones. And I was, oh crap. And then I wanted to write more jokes, so I bought a book. We can tell that to your listeners. It's called The Comedy Bible by Judy something.
Judy Carter. Yeah.
Judy Carter. It's a pretty
Harry
good
is a
book.
massive fan of that. Yeah.
And so in that book it says, even if you don't want to be on stage, you should try it once so people know what it feels like to work with your material. And I had a lot of leftover jokes that they didn't need for the show. So I thought, I'm going to do those, Yeah. And that's how I started performing.
Did they have an expiry date as well? Your
They were
leftover
really
jokes?
shitty, like shitty puns and stuff. And then I realized, there was a reason they didn't take those. Yeah.
Was there a point, though, a tipping point where you wrote the joke, it was so badly delivered, you're like, that's it?
Yeah. Like, because in the book it said, always put the word that makes people laugh at the end of the sentence. And like the host said it like in the middle of the sentence, and I thought, you're ruining the joke. It's what are you doing? And you've been doing this professionally for 25 years.
Yeah, and that's hard to craft in German as well. Like
it's really,
it's
you come
harder
up
to
with
put
weird sentences because you try to push that word further down the sentence.
That's my excuse why I don't succeed in German comedy, by the way. It's like it's so hard.
The language is not made for comedy.
It's not.
Neither is Swiss German.
It's not made for much, apart from very accurate descriptions.
And then after, I think, writing
for
for
mental
them for
illness.
1 year, they took me into the regular writing staff where you didn't get paid per joke, but per hour you sat there. And that was the way better deal. You basically, that's another hour. And what was really fascinating is that even the professionals, how they, in the book it says out of 10 jokes, 9 fall flat. And that happens even with professionals. There's so much shit that you thought, wow, they've been writers for years. Everything they come up with must be funny, but no, it's a lot of crap.
Who's the big filter in these rooms, in these writer rooms in Switzerland?
Usually the host.
The host?
Yeah, he chooses in the end. And sometimes he would be present at the brainstorming or joke writing, and sometimes he would not.
Well, that's why Stephen Colbert is just not funny. He probably also chooses.
I think he's quite funny.
You do? Okay. Well, I beg to differ.
Without naming names, did you have any hosts that would like freak out and throw things and shout?
No, they were very friendly. And
you mean the Hollywood of Seebach?
Yeah, I want the
you want the scandal.
Exactly,
the Swiss scandal.
No, there was none. It's just sometimes it was very obvious the host wouldn't like the guest, and he would tell us like, "Oh shit, we have this fucker on the show." But
that's because they have to plug a new album like Gölle or something.
Yeah, right, something like that. And also, whenever they had a guest and pretended to do something spontaneously, it was always scripted.
Yeah,
always. Like
of course,
I remember one
people?
time one of the guests called me and said, "Oh shit, they want to do a comedy, something like I need to come up with a funny answer. Here are the 3 questions. Can you send me like 10 to 15 jokes in the next 20 minutes?"
Are you
like,
for real?
Yeah, and it's a very famous person who did that. Where you would think, why doesn't he come up with his own stuff? He's supposed
Well,
to
he's
be
famous
funny.
now, so he doesn't have to
Yeah,
anymore.
maybe
Or
that's
they.
it. Yeah.
They don't have to anymore.
But I felt flattered, like, out of all the people he calls me, he needs
Do you know-
3 Roger Federer jokes.
It was funny. Actually, by coincidence, I was literally listening to this, the speech by Stuart Lee, the English comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Was talking about the evolution of comedy, that in England you had originally people would share jokes. So, there'd be like a list of jokes. And he said there was one show where all the comedians were on, where they actually had to put used jokes had to be written up on a blackboard so people wouldn't repeat them. Then it got into the stage where people started writing their own jokes.
Wait,
But
can I just say that this is one of the most English attitudes to joke writing? Is like there is a specific set of jokes, like the world.
Yeah, a pool.
There's a specific set of world that we will own,
And no one
we strike them off
Yeah.
one by one.
no one owned jokes by it. Then people got inspired by the Americans. Then it's gone back to like, I don't know, like Chris Rock or whoever, big comedians who are probably not writing any of their material at all. So we're back. It's like gone full circle of comedians
I'm glad you prefaced this
telling-
with a probably.
telling jokes. I mean,
Probably.
because you don't have the time. You just kind of, I mean, who actually,
They do. They work out all the time, apparently.
I mean,
when I say work out, that's slang in comedy.
maybe
for
Chris Rock
open
does,
mic.
but I mean, like if you hit a certain celeb level,
Yeah, but
Uh,
I also think if you do a TV show, you don't have time. You need a lot of throwaway jokes, and it's let's say it has a monologue in the beginning, so you need 6 minutes of throwaway jokes every week. You don't have time to come up with them on your own, or you're not even interested in those.
Yeah, TV is very
That's
different to stand-up in general,
Yeah.
right? So it's not about crafting a good set. It's just getting with what's currently happening. There's a lot of in the moment
Right.
type of jokes.
And also, if you need writers for your own stand-up show, then usually you can tell, because it's the stuff that everyone does, like dating and airplane food and all this, where you don't really need to know anything about the person or don't really need an attitude.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's true.
I have something about this, about a Swiss German comedian.
Mm-hmm.
No names will be named.
Mm-hmm.
Very famous. There's
Okay.
about 5.
Uh-huh.
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, fuck
That's
off. He was touring Switzerland. This is years ago. This must have been maybe his 10th hour by that point. And
Okay.
I was not doing comedy, was not in comedy at all. I was going to see this. But the way that the set was written, it had clear different bits, but they were so disjointed that he first started talking about a girlfriend, then a wife,
Yeah.
and then an ex-wife. But it didn't hold true to the story at all. This could have been said by anyone.
It's like
it-
Jimmy Carr. In
yeah.
one sentence he has a girlfriend, and the next he doesn't.
Well, yeah, but Jimmy Carr, at least he keeps it to the joke. And
Yeah.
this guy was trying to tell a story through the whole hour, and you just realize, no, that's clearly someone else who's written that bit.
It's also funny. There's like 3 famous joke writers in Switzerland you would go to if you needed. Let's say you do a stand-up special and you're like, write me an hour. Then those like, there are 3 names everyone knows. And I heard
The
that
Max Martins of Swiss
the Max
comedy.
Martins of Swiss comedy. And one of them writes routines and then workshops them to people. Like if comedian A doesn't take it, he'll try to sell it to comedian B. And then it goes down the list. And I know one comedian C who took 3 of those routines.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
This is the Micro Biche
I need to
version.
know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's the same with songs, songs
Yeah,
also
sure.
are presented to different artists and then they pass on them.
Yeah, I've been to venues where my comedy was treated exactly the same way as songs. Where
That audience didn't want it, so you tried it with the next one.
it was just like background noise.
But Frank, give me some perspective on that, because like for me, a big part of the joy of comedy is actually writing the material, and it's being alone and miserable and getting a funny idea and developing that. Like, why is it just purely cash grab?
For
Is it
me or
just-
for them?
No, for some generic comedian that's doing this.
No,
Obviously, you, Frank. This is why you're
yeah.
sitting here in
I'm
this,
Right.
saying you.
doing this podcast.
Exactly. No, I think one of them told me he likes to perform. He doesn't like writing, because that's the part where you put in hours and hours and only little results. He wants immediate gratification, and that's and
okay,
it's not
fair enough.
he can write jokes. It's just he doesn't want to invest the hours. And also he doesn't really have a stage persona that is so specific. So basically anyone could write jokes for him as long as they have a set up punchline structure.
Jesus Christ. That's okay, fair enough.
But it's not a bad thing. I mean, if that person says, I see this as a business and I don't care about what I talk on stage as long as people like it.
Okay, I guess I can respect it if you see it as a business, but I mean, basically, you're just a muppet for someone's jokes.
You're basically like the
Oh,
president.
you're a
No,
very
but
good performer.
You're still editing, though. You're still editing the jokes that are being written for you.
And you come up with the topics.
Okay, fair enough.
You're hating this very...
I fucking hate it. Like, seriously, because there's something about where you connect with a bit that you wrote, where there's like emotion and a bunch of stuff in there because it's something that that's you. You is genuinely
but it's a very
authentic.
British look at stand-up comedy, because here something can be a comedy show but not specifically about that person. I mean, if you go and watch Divertimento, it's two guys that play characters and it's sketch comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
So a Swiss audience, they don't care if it's true or if it's from you. It can, as long as it's funny, then they're gonna like it.
fair enough.
And apparently the three guys that have been writing Swiss comedy for the last, 20 years?
That wrote everything that every Swiss person laughed at for 20 years.
Jesus.
That is a bizarre position
I
to
think
be in.
this explains exactly why we are so kind of slow. I really had to choose my words here. Fucking hell.
Yeah, but the Germans had the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
like
that's
if you
true.
look at German comedy in the 90s, it was all characters like Atze
100%.
Schröder and
Otto.
No one was being a real person on stage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, to me, it's
Harry, you're sometimes too real.
It's just but it just produces like stuff that is like, it's like chewing McDonald's. It's just like generic entertainment that goes in and comes out.
Isn't that it's like it fills a void that some people need.
I guess, but
It's
I
like
mean,
a bullshit.
especially
Super-
companies at Christmas time.
Exactly.
we need to.
We all need some
I had
McDonald's.
some companies that they looked at my material, you know, the stuff that's online, and say, "Oh, could you please not talk about homosexuals and Jehovah's Witnesses? I know we have some in the company, and they would feel offended." And
Gay Jehovah's Witnesses?
no, not the combination of the two of them. Yeah, I think you won't find those.
No, I was just wondering. It's like, that would be fucking crazy.
There must be one at least, one in the world. Just knocking on doors. Just like, you don't want.
But wait,
You don't want the
out,
word
but
of God.
Wait, but he's
how about,
out.
would you like something else?
Is that you, Harry? That's a Jehovah's
You
Witness.
got to double your option.
You should try when they knock on your door next time. You're like, I'm not really interested in God, but you fancy a shack.
They nailed Jesus to
Not,
a wooden
not
cross.
even that. Just
I'm not
holding
into-
up a dinger. Just going like.
I'm not
"Hello."
into the word of God, but I'm into the mouth of God. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. That was a fun. Did we cover your comedy?
Wow.
my
Let's just
career,
quickly
yeah.
Plug your show real quick now before we lose any more listeners.
Yeah. Yes. So if you're an international listener, feel free to fly to Switzerland to watch my German-speaking comedy show called
Right.
Bla Bla Land, where I
It's
talk
a great,
about.
It's a great show.
How did you come up with that idea for the title? I'm so sorry.
My director said you talk a lot about movies. You should make something with movies.
Now, okay, great segue. So, this is the thing for do this podcast. We talked about it many times, and it's been hard to organize. We're finally here. You always wanted to watch a movie and then talk about it.
Yes.
You have a massive love of movies. Tell us about your
do.
love of
I
movies. It's
used
above
to-
and beyond. the norm.
So I started working as an usher at the age of 15, and that's when my love for the movies and the movie theater started.
Wow.
And
You weren't
yeah.
scared off by like the blue lights show in a movie theater as a young
By
usher?
what?
A blue lights show?
Blue lights?
Have you never taken a blue light to cinema as an usher?
Oh, we don't have those.
Oh, thank God.
You mean the black light?
Yeah, the black light.
No,
sorry.
we didn't have those. Our movie theater didn't even have popcorn. I started working at the
you worked in Rappi.
Rapperswil, which is a small town, and we had the first movie theater in Switzerland, the oldest one, basically.
Wow.
It was in Rapperswil, 1918. That's when it started.
Wow.
Did it still have an organ?
I think in the beginning it did. Yeah, I mean, not while I was working there.
Okay.
There it was gone. But if you look at old pictures, I think it did.
Was it in an old church or something?
No,
They just had an organ, background music.
That was the thing. During the time when movies started, there was no soundtrack.
Oh, so
they
somebody was
had
live playing.
someone was playing live the organ to the movie.
Oh,
It's
legit?
like all the legit old Hollywood movies.
I thought they just put a record on with like a big.
Nah,
No.
it was full blown organ sound.
All right, I thought it was maybe it was just quiet. You know.
No, it took Jimmy Savile to figure out the part.
I watched that on Netflix. It was horrible. Yeah,
So he's
and then
not again.
I hosted a TV show that was called What to Watch, in which I would recommend movies. And I had to watch a lot of movies for that show in order to recommend them. And some of them, the show was, it was sponsored by a big Swiss streaming provider. So at some point they're like, well, we don't care about your taste. You're going to talk about this movie and you're going to say it's good.
So you became a corporate whore.
You sold out.
And then you had to find, because I couldn't say, I told my co-host, I can't say this is a good movie. It was really shit. So I would say something like, yeah, I thought what I really enjoyed were all the neon lights in the background. They were really, they really captured the nightlight of Tokyo or something like that. But the story still was shit. Yeah, but that was the best part. You were getting paid to watch movies.
Also, so as an usher, you would see like a movie 10, 15 times.
At least, because it was not a multiplex. We just had one screen. So I would watch. And the best thing was back then, there was not even digital projection. So
you had to change the reels?
Not me, but the I don't know how it's called in English. Operator?
Projectionist,
A projectionist.
Beach to
And
it.
he
Okay.
smoked a lot of weed. So when we had Harry Potter on, he accidentally mixed up those reels, and then suddenly he played the end of the movie somewhere in the middle, and then the kids started running to the cash desk and were crying and said, "Something's wrong with the movie. I read the book. This is supposed to be at the end." And then they had to stop the movie, and everyone got their money back.
Oh my god,
Dude.
Yeah, it can't happen anymore now because it's all digital.
that's cool. So, okay, so we watched a movie, and so we're gonna pull on your skills to you're not allowed to say anything bad about this movie.
All right. So we watched a movie with Liam Neeson, who of course is a legend as an actor. And I mean, the guy is 70 years old and he's still,
you couldn't tell in the
you
movie.
can tell he's still doing his own driving and punching. And so this movie had a lot of twists, which I really enjoyed. It was with a couple of famous people, Monica Bellucci and Clive Owen.
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, sorry. Yeah, but nevertheless, great actor.
Interchangeable.
Yes, and classical Liam Neeson. It's all there. The voice, the catchy one-liners. It's great.
It also had a nice hand signature by the director called Martin Campbell.
Oh, the James Bond director.
James Bond director.
Yes.
He's the director who did GoldenEye.
He did.
And if you're now thinking about the movie, there is a murder scene on a boat, in a bedroom on a boat, which is a Campbell thing.
Yeah, Xenia Onatop.
Xenia
did the same
Onatop.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just this time not with the pillow. Rather.
Yeah, it was basically a James Bond movie in Old El Paso. What was it? Old El Paso,
Texas.
Texas.
It's so great. They basically hired a bunch of European or European adjacent actors pretending to be Americans.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Rome, the TV series? The HBO series Rome?
Yeah.
A
lot of fucking.
A lot of fucking.
Yeah.
The sheriff in this movie here was
Fuck yes.
Titus Pullo.
He's the chief gladiator.
He is the chief gladiator and chief rapist.
Maybe someone should explain the plot, otherwise you're losing listeners.
Yeah,
'cause
exactly.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go
yeah,
I'm
into
sure
it.
they're wondering about what is. But if you get the chance to somehow illegally download that movie, you should go for it.
The
Don't pay for it.
Memory.
It's legal in Switzerland too.
It
Legally,
is, of course.
Yeah, what's the name
So-
of the movie anyway?
Memory.
I've already forgotten.
So the movie starts with a disheveled Liam Neeson sitting in a shitty car.
A fresh 70-year-old
Yeah.
Liam Neeson. I could hear the fucking arthritis. They had to edit that out, I'm sure.
Just him talking to himself. Do I have a line in this?
He didn't even have to act that he has Alzheimer's.
No. I was just expecting some like walking aid outside of the car.
It's like a Tom Cruise situation where they box it out, you know? You guys know that they put Tom Cruise in a box, right?
Oh,
What?
for him to look bigger in
Yeah,
movies.
to look taller.
I
It's in his contract.
I know, and also they rebuild sets with scenes where just he's in,
Yeah.
and they make everything like 30% smaller. So it's true, because I
100% true.
interviewed a Swiss singer, and they used the set that Tom Cruise used in his movie, and he said
Giant.
the same set was built right next to it, and everything was in normal size, and then we had the short size.
I wonder how they
one.
worked out a 30% shorter version. Like they were like, how tall does Tom Cruise want to look?
There's-
He's like 6'4".
Yeah.
6'4".
Like
There's
they
one
make
guy.
smaller steps
Yeah.
and stairs and stuff.
There's one set designer. He's the genius on
Yeah.
reducing sets by 30%. He's had a career on
His
Tom
next
Cruise.
job was in Lord of the Rings. Those hobbits look fucking
Wow.
tiny.
That's fucking dope.
All right, so okay, let me throw the fast synopsis of the plot. You got Liam Neeson. He's a paid killer. He kills people in the movie, but then he runs into pedophiles,
Hey.
and then he discovers that he's not actually a paid killer, but he's actually Liam Neeson, who never does things to children.
It was also a girl.
He-
It was a young girl
a
that he
young
had
girl.
to protect. So.
He flips. He chooses the. It's a bit like Star Wars, actually. He switches to the Force.
Yeah.
He joins with what's his face, not Clive Owens,
Guy Pearce.
Guy
Wait,
Pearce.
How hard
They
is it?
kind of become buddies, and then we got so bored of the movie by the end we didn't even
They
watch the
kind of
finish.
become buddies just because they didn't shoot each other. That's all right.
And then you had fat Monica Bellucci tossed in as
Don't you dare.
She wasn't fat.
She was fat, motherfuckers. That like hot Monica Bellucci Matrix. Go take a
I'm
side
sorry
by
she
side.
doesn't stand up to your standards.
She was
you know,
from
and
25
expectations.
years
She
ago.
was
Yeah,
wearing-
from what, 150 years ago? How old is she, and how old are you at this point?
She looks like, as I said in the movie, she's clearly got diabetes.
beautiful
and on that
woman.
medication.
How
It's
dare you.
She
puffy
looks like a
face.
healthy, cute Italian woman.
Exactly. I
Of-
wonder what you're going to look
of
like at her
70.
age. You already look like her age now.
I'm gonna look like
So
Liam
did
Neeson.
this movie have any problems? Because I wrote some down, but I'm only supposed to
It
say
had
positive things
so-
about
this
the
movie
movie.
had so many problems.
So many problems.
So okay,
Yeah,
let
come
me
on,
start.
you-
Let me start with
Fuck
this.
that, you can say anything you want now.
No, you go ahead.
Let me start with one of the. It's not necessarily a problem, but it's something that I love about these type of, let's call them B or C movies. It's the laser pointer and silencer combo. It's just, he gets a gun, and he has got a full flashed laser pointer and the silencer, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck
He's
yeah.
70.
It's
He
back in the 90s.
Yeah, I saw some problems before that. Like, there's not one likable character that has any goal. It's just people do
But there's
stuff.
no purpose.
There's no purpose
No.
in nothing they do, and no one's likable. Like, you don't root for anyone in this movie,
And,
not even for Liam.
and I'm annoyed by this because they had the budget and the cast.
Yeah,
100%.
That should
They
have been a
just
fucking movie.
They were just stingy on the script, I guess.
Liam Neeson needed a funny sidekick.
Yeah, like back to Star Wars, like a little shitty robot.
Yeah, like a Chris Tucker in Rush Hour 3. You know, like someone funny.
Yeah, but
At least.
in this time
Someone
it would
cool.
be Fluffy, like the Mexican drug cartel.
They needed a black person
Another
because
problem.
there was a lack of
they
them.
had a Mexican guy.
Oh yeah, one Mexican dude
another
in
problem.
Texas.
They had
Fucking liars.
they had too many major characters in the cast, like that Mexican dude and the Mexican-looking women that were working for police.
Yeah,
Like,
they were pointless.
they just tossed them out of the script, and I think they figured it out halfway through the movie but like the woman, she was just there to explain names.
Yes.
Like Hugo Fuentes, he is the guy in Miami who's like with John Bolobocki, and like, and you just give up trying to follow what the fuck is happening with it.
Also, I've never seen a movie where glass breaks so easily. Windows, toilets, car windows, everything just breaks as soon as Liam touches
It
it.
reminded me of Die Hard so bad. It's just like, shoot the glass. It was kind of that moment.
I have a lot of experience in After Effects and editing, and some of my friends work in the film industry, and it's so, like, from someone from that perspective, it's so easy to see the shoddy effects. Because once you go into the YouTube rabbit hole of how to do this in After Effects, you can see where they get it from.
Oh, they
And
get
like-
it from there as well?
Yeah, you can. It's all the same. Or like they'll do it and then YouTube will copy it, to show you how to.
Okay.
So there was one shot that I found hilarious, which was the exploding car in the car park.
Mhm.
So in order not to show that in an expensive way, they did this really wide angle shot for no reason.
Yeah, just the sound.
It's just the sound, and then the little explosion on the corner of the building.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like this tiny, it's like 5 pixels. It's
Yeah,
just
make it
kind
a
of
small.
exploding.
I didn't even spot that.
I was literally looking for it.
Yeah.
It was like my "Where is Waldo" moment on the screen. It's like, where's the fucking
Oh,
explosion?
that's the parking garage there.
There were bits that were I like the bit actually where the guy got shot on the running machine.
Yeah.
And then no one gave a fuck and carried on running, and there's a
Right.
dead.
But that's just America nowadays. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Texas, right?
But it was just a nice little moment. It's
like every
that,
school
and that
these
could have
days.
been a gym in Zurich as well. Like it totally would have worked the same way. Everyone's in the zone, and they don't notice that somebody got shot in the head.
Yeah, it's almost as if America ignores kind of guns in general.
I don't think that's...
No.
Only the ones.
People get shot and nobody seems to give a fuck.
well,
Very
just
accurate.
another day in Texas.
God no.
But the story plot, or basically the no motivation to do anything, really baffled me because they were trying to establish it with Guy Pearce.
Mhm.
He was supposed to be the good cop, right?
Right.
And there was early on there was a picture of his family that is never mentioned in the movie until the very end, where he explains why he is
at length.
based at length.
Yeah.
A conversation that I completely would have clicked off.
All
and
the-
and
yeah.
then suddenly he's like, oh yeah, his wife got killed. Oh, that's why he's doing all this shit.
The characters are so two-dimensional. Yeah, like the first scene where the guy comes, there's like this Mexican guy goes to a hospital and just behaving rude to everyone without a reason, just being a cocky asshole. So Liam has the right to kill him because then Liam kills him right away in the first 2 minutes, and they only show the character behaving that way, so the audience goes like, "Oh, it's okay, he killed him."
That's exactly right, because I thought that guy is going to
Yeah.
kill someone,
Yeah.
and then Liam is going to protect that other person
Right.
because he's Liam,
Yeah.
right?
And then the whole thing, they set up so much shit, like that thing with the key in the car. Like I'm trying to think, is this Memento? Like I would thought maybe there's a bit of
He
a
started
Memento.
writing shit on his arm too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
but-
Shutter Island vibe.
And the whole writing on the arm was not used in any fucking
Fuck,
way.
Guy Pearce must have felt horrific.
From Memento.
It's the guy from Memento.
He was in there?
He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the guy
Ah.
in Memento. I'm just realizing this now as well. It's just
It's like
fucking hell.
It's true. And when you ask for his Lipton's iced tea, I said Lipton's, I don't know why. Iced tea, that's branding.
yeah, what the fuck was the deal with that
Yeah.
drink?
Right? He was in one scene. The waitress, whatever, brings in his drink, and then she goes, "Anything else?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, an iced tea." And everyone kind of freaks out, but the iced tea's there already. It's kind of this like, it's a view of the director from Alzheimer's without knowing what Alzheimer's is. Like,
He already had an
fuck.
iced tea.
it was
I
there
thought-
already.
I thought the whole scene was that he'd recognize her trying to poison him.
No.
I thought it was like, oh, that's a
You thought
poison drink.
way too much already into that movie.
I'm like,
It was-
oh my god!
And
It was
also,
way
there
shitter than
was
I
this
thought.
lady he met down at the bar, at the hotel bar. Liam met this
Yeah,
lady,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
they had a one-night stand. And I think now he's looking too old to pull off
To
like
pull that off.
35-year-old women who just throw themselves at him, you know.
She was a
sex worker.
working lady.
But what was great? What was great?
Yeah.
But the
is-
first one, not the first one. He
It's
talked
the
about
same lady.
Same lady.
Oh,
But
she was wearing different makeup or something.
what I thought was nice is that
You
when
just outed yourself on this.
Yeah. All women look the same apparently. Hey, Frank.
but I like the scene where he woke up in bed with her. He's wearing a vest, like after
yeah, true.
sex, and she's spooning him.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
And what's the problem with that, Harry?
No, it's good because he goes from like I'm fucking Liam Neeson the badass to like I need someone to be my
he
mummy.
had to look vulnerable in that scene because he's having a nightmare.
Fair enough.
There you go. Why don't you fucking
But I was
analyze some film for
But
once?
maybe we
instead of-
should also mention that we didn't finish the movie, so maybe the last 20 minutes might be amazing. And
I
we don't
don't
know.
I'm pretty sure.
I
not.
don't think that Liam finished either. This is why she was spooning him.
Okay, that's plausible. It's okay, Liam. It happens to the best of them.
But he has still a couple of those movies coming out. I saw some trailers on YouTube.
He's
There's at
fuck
least
me.
3 more coming.
He's milking the fuck out of
yeah,
it.
but
Just
but
stop.
none of you guys saw The Ice Road. That was really. But the thing with The Ice Road was it was so bad that it was already enjoyable. Whereas this, this one was just bad. You didn't like any of the characters in the Ice Road. He's a trucker, and you root for Liam, and they gave him an autistic brother, so he seems more vulnerable. And it's
That's
cute.
an original story right there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so at what point in this movie did you realize this is going to be shit? Like for me, I think 20 minutes. I was like, okay, mate, like
20.
When the cops had like a really long dialogue that didn't go anywhere with a lot of names, I was like, this is shit. Why?
that's yeah, a bunch of names.
And also, why? I mean, there's the old El Paso Police Department, and let's say it's Texas, so there's going to be at least 50 killing sprees a day. But it's always the 3 same
It's the same
guys that show up at the murder scene.
El Paso apparently is just like 5 guys.
Yes.
It's still cowboy
And
town.
also, they go to 3 different, what is it called, Tatort? crime scenes. And realize, it was always Liam who did this.
Yep.
Always the
Immediately.
same guy.
It was very, very quickly because
Yeah.
apparently used the
32
same caliber.
millimeter.
yeah, exactly. No tape, nothing.
No.
What you guys don't know is that Americans actually can't defend themselves because they're all carrying a weapon. So you don't need that many cops, apparently.
They
Good
just
point.
had to sift through the dead school children.
I was just wondering. So, did any of you check the budget of this movie?
All blown on Liam,
This
clearly.
movie had a budget. That's for
It
sure.
clearly had a budget, but what was it blown on?
Liam.
Aside from like
Monica Bellucci.
No.
And then Liam.
You mean her catering?
I think here's where they. Yeah, you're right. They spent it on the cast, and they weren't willing to commit to let's make this an old person's movie. So they threw in these young twats to make it like a movie for everyone, and that fucked it up big
They
time.
needed a bit of spunk.
Because to me, honestly, you've seen the movie Heat. Like, one thing that this movie lacked was a solid soundtrack. And if you'd had like that, the soundtrack for Heat, you'd had what's his face, the guy from Memento, and Liam Neeson.
Guy Pearce.
Guy
How
Pearce.
complicated is that name?
I can't remember. It just falls in a black hole. Guy Pearce, Liam Neeson, and they having this rivalry where they eventually become buddies. That could have been a movie with Monica Bellucci giving them both a hand job. Like that. That would have
What
been
was Monica Bellucci? What is she in the movie? She's a rich woman who runs a pedophile ring, or what's her thing?
She protected her son because
He ran the pedophile
is
ring.
the pedophile.
But what about what is her job? Also, why is she getting Botoxed in every scene? It's so weird.
Her job is to whisper all the time.
Yeah.
and
It's
be
the sexiest
ruthless.
whisper
Just to
ever.
be ruthless.
But then she has this weird surgeon dude who tries to give her eternal life.
yeah,
like,
what the fuck
where's
was that whole?
There's
that,
nothing.
What the fuck did that have to do with anything?
That's what she wanted contractually put into the movie. Just to try and like
so she got
show how-
injections for free.
Yeah. She was like, at least the audience will know that I'm really old, but I look great.
She didn't have that many lines either. She had like
She doesn't need lines. What are you talking about?
She's just high like that.
She's just gorgeous. Terrible.
Okay, how would you fix this movie, Frank?
Take out those two cops. Like that we don't need. I mean, maybe keep the Mexican, but the woman needs to go. She's completely useless.
I hated the Mexican as well because that whole thing where he's explaining the evil of pedophiles.
I can
Had
isolate
no-
that sentence, Harry. I hated the Mexican as well.
No, because do you remember the scene where he's going like, and he's showing his necklace and like
Yeah.
this girl, and it was completely unconvincing. None of it. It's like this was so bad, and no.
Okay, that is a very good observation. There was a number of bar scenes, a number of scenes where people would go and drink, and it was the most unloving situation ever portrayed in a movie in terms of like at least appreciate the drink. Like there was nothing. Every single time,
Did
like
they even drink?
yeah, Liam was drinking whiskey with the lady of the night.
He didn't fucking enjoy the drink.
Spoken like a true alcoholic.
Absolutely. I know my boozy movies. Like every single time when you see cops going to a bar, at least show it right. But they had one shot of tequila. At least show there were like a fuck ton of bottles on there. Like what? It was the cleanest bar setting ever.
Also,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't because you're right. They poured him the whiskey, and instead of having the shot of him drinking the whiskey and like get in that moment,
He just smacks a cunt.
They go and he has to go and smack a twat who's hitting on a whore, and he's
I
now a
know how
gentleman.
to fix the movie. Give Liam a puppy. You know, so he has something to care
Fuck
for,
yes.
and the audience
That's
likes
what Dean
him.
was saying, but it's like yes, a puppy.
Also, with he could be
The little
included into
girl's
the
puppy.
pedophile scenes. You know, that
Yeah.
kids love puppies. So I don't know. Somewhere there's a connection.
We did watch that movie with Liam with the puppy.
No, that was John Wick.
No, we went to the movies together to watch Liam Neeson with a puppy.
Right. And also at the
saving in
Mexican
Mexican
border.
chats.
Yes. What was
Oh,
that? The Oldsman, the Lost Man,
Oh,
something
the
like
rifleman or something.
Yeah,
the
rifleman.
marksman.
Marksman. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it.
We actually went to the
That
cinema
was
to
better
watch
than that,
It was
though.
way better because
Yeah.
at least I was invested.
Yeah.
So the puppy's been done. It needed to be a ferret then.
A ferret.
He needed a ferret.
No,
What's a ferret?
The
A
thing
dry-
is,
it's like a weasel, like a.
Ah, okay. Like,
no,
Alright.
it's about what Mexican kids have access to as pets.
What would be
what
a
would that be?
Tarantula.
What-
It's not very friendly.
or a donkey?
A rattlesnake, you know.
I was just
It could have
wondering.
been a donkey. Just like in every scene, there's this donkey walking
For
slowly.
no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
and then he rides on it while in the background the car explodes.
Oh my
He's
god.
Mexican Jesus.
Yeah, so he would have needed a puppy, and also, get rid of some of the policemen or women,
Yeah,
and
too
then
many.
also, it's just make any of the characters likable and give him a goal. Especially that policeman, he has zero goal.
I don't even mind likable. Give me someone to hate. Because in the end, the only person to really hate was
The director.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Fuck off, Martin.
And also the other hitman that he wastes that gets blown up in the car. You were starting to dislike him, but then he was dead.
I didn't even know who he was. He was an old friend of his who just kind of showed up again and tried to kill him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's the guy
Yeah.
that talked him out of retirement.
Right, and the second guy, he killed the one that had to open the safe, and then the next day they talked to the lady who
To the wife.
the widow, and it just didn't lead anywhere. Like
Nothing.
they could have cut away that scene where they talked to her. He's dead. What's the point?
100%. There was there was nothing in that scene that
Because they
helped
had a
the
couple.
movie.
There was a symmetry of the black guy who's the police chief type dude, and then you had the twat that got shot on the running machine. They represent corporate status quo. Both of them. So it's like you got the old guy versus the corporate status quo, and those guys are always like, well, we need to maintain like business operations.
This movie is deeper than we all
Jesus
thought. Harry
Christ.
saw it.
Depth.
like, you know what?
Shut up about your depth, Harry. You can analyze the corporate structure and relationships
No.
between those, but then you're like, Monica Bellucci, that fat hoe with diabetes.
No, but look at the ageism of that. As those two guys.
Ageism is a problem for you, but fucking
wait.
masochism and
wait. 'Cause
those sexism.
those two guys are both between 30 and 40. They've got management positions and they're representing an
they represent
organization.
you. That's
And
why
then
you
you've
relate.
got, then you got what's his name again? I forgot his name.
Guy Pearce.
Memento. Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce is the old cop who's wanting to say fuck you to his boss, and then you got Liam Neeson who doesn't respect either.
Can we just address that he looked slightly too disheveled, Guy Pearce, for an FBI guy? Like, I know that they wanted dirty. They wanted to present him as kind of like, suffering from the loss of his wife that no one clocked until the end of the movie, but. It was druggy in a way.
It was as if he didn't shower.
heroin-y. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
and especially with that brown leather jacket.
Yeah.
I just went to an amusement park, and the guy that's supposed to play a cop in the stunt show looks exactly like that. It's so cliche the way they dress him up.
It's classic.
It was more like not suffering from the loss of his wife, more like suffering from leprosy. 'Cause the side of his face
you could
sometimes.
you expect things to fall off any second.
Yeah, exactly.
I love how undercover cops play undercover cops. Like they're kind of approach the gangs and they're like, "Hey guys, I'm a gangster just like you."
Also, I realized all those cars that Liam drives in this movie are super old rental cars from the 90s. Where would you even get those? Because it's clearly not his car.
With dirt on them.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's budget problems because they probably just went
Yeah,
to the
but give him
junkyard.
like
It's the
a
movie
Hyundai
product.
or like a Prius
They
or
bought
something.
the lowest price car at the junkyard, covered in dust still, and
Wait.
just gave it to Liam.
Didn't he drive the same car twice?
The
La
red
Bronco.
one.
The beginning that dirty
Yeah,
car,
that-
and then he drove it again where the Mexicans shot him.
Right.
And weren't they two geographically distant locations?
No, it wasn't
No,
the
it
same
was-
car. One was silver, the other one was dark.
Wasn't
It was
one red? Yeah.
reddish.
Oh, okay.
Like
all right. I thought
he wrote.
I thought I'd found a major
And then the
hole in the plot.
like
he drove
the
the Bronco twice.
no,
uh,
he didn't drive it. He just drove it
He
and then he
drove it.
fell asleep at the gas station
Yes!
to shoot a cop. Yeah, it happened.
But you know, that scene in a weird way was kind of like just again Liam being Liam. It's just that might have happened during shooting, and they were like, "Let's keep rolling."
He's really getting into this vulnerable old guy character. Is he though?
the fake blood was already kind of drying up. It's just like, let's kill cops.
But the weird thing is that whole thing of him having Alzheimer's or dementia had no impact on the plot whatsoever.
No, there
Like-
was the missing firing pin, which. Okay, so let's address the fact that most of the plot points that are halfway interesting are stolen from other movies.
Yeah.
Because that the firing pin is from Shooter. Blowing up the killer in the car, that's from
Every movie
every
ever.
movie ever.
For sure.
There are a lot of tropes reused. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a money grab kind of thing. I bet you could just throw Liam Neeson's name into anything and it'll just make money.
But how do you sit in a writer's room and you produce that type of diarrhea?
Well, you don't get paid enough because all the budget's going to this old fuck. I really don't like it,
But
by the way.
I think it's actually, to me, it seems like a lack of leadership because they had the budget.
Lack of leadership, like middle management. You wanted more of
No,
that.
someone lacked the focus because like there were all these bits around that like this could have been a movie
No,
and instead they fucked it.
there was no
So
funny,
what was the last good Liam Neeson movie you guys saw?
never before that there was actually one. There was one. It was an interview on I think CNN where he's talking about going out and trying to kill a black dude.
Oh, yeah.
Best fucking Liam
The
Neeson
Ricky
movie
Gervais
I've seen.
talks about that in his special.
I haven't seen his special
You
yet.
should.
There's a lot of anger and hate towards it apparently.
From the
I like-
trans community.
You know.
I don't, but like I did kind of okay. This is another topic.
Yeah,
But I
think it's the dark hole that opens there.
Still better than a Liam Neeson movie.
honestly, I can't. Apart First Taken, it might be the only.
I recently
Liam-
watched that again. It's so good.
Are you a big Liam Neeson fan, right?
No, I forgive him for a lot of things because I like him. But I think his prime days are over. That's safe to say.
He's
But
way past his prime.
But I'm actually struggling to find a movie he starred in that I really
haven't
like,
seen,
apart from Taken.
Didn't he do one where he's a cowboy with
Sounds
Seth
familiar.
MacFarlane or something?
Okay.
It rings a bell.
It rings a
Yeah.
bell.
I haven't
Wow.
seen. Maybe that's hilarious. The comedy I can remember him for is Schindler's List. That one's
that one was great.
No, that's a Ricky Gervais joke.
Do you have sympathy for Liam because of daddy issues or what's going on?
No, I
there?
just think I don't know. I like aging action stars, you know, like
yeah.
also Keanu Reeves is getting into this category at
No,
the
he will
moment.
never
He looks too young to be the Liam Neeson guy, and before that we had Sylvester Stallone, and I like this, or
Bruce
Roger
Willis.
Moore as James Bond. He was so old, and I enjoy it when, for example, in order to make the main actor look not as old, they have to cast even older stuntmen that you can
Yes.
beat up, because
Yes.
otherwise everyone's like, how is that possible that a 60-year-old is beating up those 25-year-olds?
I'm watching this. I've been watching the series Bosch on Amazon Prime. I love it, but it's about an old detective who's chunky, and they keep having these men have been in special forces. They keep doing flashbacks like 20, 30 years before, and with him,
Where
they
he's
just,
got his ranger tattoo.
They just have him who's looking really old, and they paint a black beard on him, and that's all they do for the flashbacks. It's fantastic.
In the gay scene, Frank, is there a slang for going after older men who are like maybe closeted?
I know where
wouldn't
this
know.
is going.
Maybe
Dean.
daddy. But I can tell you, all the ethnical black guy goes for Asian goes for white guy. All of
I'm
those.
good. I'm just trying to
You,
find
you'll
out
know
why-
those, right?
how much you like Liam.
No, not in a sexual way.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Although the
I
voice,
can't-
I must admit, have you ever seen? There's a clip on YouTube where he speaks the lyrics
voice.
of Justin Bieber's. What is that song? Where not Baby, the other one that where he's like, we're sitting at the fireplace, blah blah blah. Does he have a song?
Oh,
called
he reads it in an.
he reads it, but in the Taken voice.
Okay.
It's really cool.
I love that bit from Life's Too Short, the clip where he goes, I have full-blown AIDS.
Full-blown
I
AIDS
think
from
that-
African prostitutes.
Honestly, I think that's the greatest thing he ever did. Like, that's so... It cracks me up every time I see that.
What about the movie where you see him naked at the river with Jodie Foster? What is that one called? Forgot.
Naked with Jodie. I don't. What's the one where he's got a he plays like some Irish sword fighter, and he's got a big broadsword.
That was the Highlander? No.
He's up against. It's like Highlander, but not quite. And he's up against
like
a guy with a fencing sword. So he's got this big broadsword. He's a big, strong guy, but there's this nimble dude who's just stabbing him the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look up Liam's IMDb.
That actually
so I
sounds
know.
like just the sense of Ireland versus England.
Yeah, it's very much. It's
Very metaphorical.
Oh man. Good
We're
old
doing
Liam.
some-
But I think all these big old movie stars or action stars are kind of disappearing now. Like we both, Frank, you and I, we both shed a little tear when Bruce Willis, his illness got announced, and it
Yes.
suddenly became crystal clear why he didn't have lines anymore.
Look at how busy Liam is. He has 1, 2, 3,
What is
4,
that?
5, 6 movies in the pipeline.
What is he doing? So why is he doing all this?
I
Is
don't know.
it-
Does he have ex-wives?
yeah, exactly. Or is this a?
He's a Hollywood guy, so
Alimony, yeah,
Is
sure.
has he developed a new type of male crisis that happens at 70? That you just
you want to produce and produce and produce.
Well, same thing about what's the black guy called?
Idris,
No, the really old one that's in every movie.
Sidney,
Denzel
what's it-
Washington.
No,
I think
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
He just
Morgan
doesn't
Freeman.
quit. He's 86.
Yeah, but Morgan admits to just money.
really? Why
yeah,
does he need all that
I
money?
remember an interviewer going, "Why do you do this?" He goes,
Uh-huh.
"Money."
Well, you don't even need. You don't have time
There's
left to
never enough
spend it.
money.
Yeah.
Give it to your kids, your grandkids.
All right, fair enough.
He's a beautiful, aging, famous actor. He's probably got a bunch of grandkids.
I love the fact that we learned nothing out of this movie, but I kind of enjoyed it with how much
It
garbage
doesn't
it was
even have
filled.
fun facts on IMDb. Usually there's like trivia.
Wait,
Not with
Liam
this
and
movie.
fun in the same sentence.
All right.
I have
Closing,
to-
closing one sentence. We'll do a quick round and then plugs. Okay.
Cool.
Dean, in one sentence, what's your feeling on, or one word even? What's feeling of the movie memory?
The movie memory, forgettable.
Okay.
Nice.
Good.
I'm going with thin diarrhea.
I'm going with Fat Monica Bellucci. That is the selling point of the movie.
It is not.
You just watch it to see Fat Monica. It's
I'm gonna go
interesting.
and jack off trailer. Just
Unlikable characters.
Nice.
Unlikable characters. Nice.
Fifth gunplay Liam Neeson has made in a row. That's what it says here as a fun fact.
I would have said that it's not Alec Baldwin who shoots someone on set. It was Liam. That's a
No, he
strange
forgot the
little-
firing pin.
He takes a baseball bat. He's like, I saw a girl get molested, so I went out on the street and beat a girl.
Any
With a
plugs?
baseball bat. Plugs, yeah. 10th of July, the Comedy Clinic is coming back. We did a show just over a week ago. It was a lot of fun, and that's why we're doing it again.
If I
People
get a
love
spot there.
Yeah, if you
should.
want a spot,
Nice.
you should.
I signed
And
up for it.
Frank, you should
You-
as well.
you-
It's
what?
a lot of fun.
You
Yeah.
signed up for it.
On the group.
When did
Yeah, let's do admin
Okay.
after.
Nice.
I didn't even
I'll
say
be
it.
there.
Frank, what do you plug?
I don't have plugs. The hair is real. Thank you.
Oh.
Nice.
No,
We're all
nothing.
jealous.
Bad joke of the day.
Nothing. My solo is happening after summer break, starting in September,
Cool.
and before there, it's just some mixed shows, but nothing. Everything in Swiss German.
Where can we
Everything is
find
in
you on Instagram and stuff like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you very much for asking. Instagram is Frank_M_Richter, and or the website is frankrichter.ch.
Cool.
Very nice.
Cool. Plugs.
29th of September at Volkshaus, we're going to have the English Stand-Up Comedy Gala with Javi Castells, John O'Duffy, Snjoluk Ludwigstottir,
And the guy from
Peter
Memento.
Flanagan.
Wow.
Are headlining. All of them are headlining individually, and Benjamin Delahaye and I will just pretend that we are also cool. So yeah, come to that. We have a fuck ton of tickets to sell. Come on. Please buy tickets.
Cool.
Clap
That's it.
again. Or how
Thank
does
you.
this end? Does it have a jingle?
Thank you, Frank, for coming on this podcast. It's been fun
Yeah,
doing
it
a
was
movie
lovely,
with
Frank.
you.
You're beautiful.
And, yeah.
Bye.
Word up.